Hello everyone. This is Highlander from MTG Cardsmith, and we've got another new cardsmith to the channel, Sweda. Nice to see new faces around here. So let's see what Sweda's bringing to the table. Okay, hold on. He told me, keep in mind, all were designed to try and pressure the opponent to send mana on the tokens rather than spending the mana on developing their board. Okay, I believe you mean spend mana. Okay, well, that might make more sense as we read the cards. Okay, so let's see what we got here. We've got a card called Hemorrhaging Uchigatana. Actually, let's learn, guys. Define Uchigatana. A type of Japanese sword worn by the samurai class. Okay, makes sense. Is there a pronunciation here? Pronounce. Let's see here. It doesn't have the little mouth thing. Okay, whatever. Uchigatana. I'm just going to call it that. Okay, so this is black-red equipment. Excuse me. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 in menace. Okay. When equipped creature deals damage to a player, choose one. Destroy all blood tokens they control. If 3 or more blood tokens were destroyed this way, that player loses half their life rounded down. Yikes. That player creates that many tap blood tokens. I see. And equip 3. Okay, so let me just get a couple things out of the way before we really dive into this. Couple of formatting issues with this card. First of all, you're using the wrong border. This is a hybrid mana border that you're using. You want to use the well, actually, you want to use the artifact. Do they have a black-red artifact border on MTG Cardsmith? Let me check that real fast. Hold on, please. Okay, they do not, unfortunately, but I would still use the it's probably still correct to use the gold black-red border instead of the hybrid one. Okay. So getting into this. Oh, also, there should be a new line here where the equip is. So it's like this new line, this new line, this, and we can probably reword some of this, but we'll get to that in a minute. So. Okay, actually, I'm going to do that right now because there's something that I think could actually help improve the way this card reads quite a bit. So let me do a little bit of rewording here. It's not going to be much. This card's worded fairly well. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has menace. I believe that's how you have to do that. Whenever, so not when, but whenever equipped creature deals, and I'm gonna say combat damage because I believe it's just better to do that. You don't want to be doing any nonsense with this, right? You don't want to like put this on a pinger and just have them get free hits in. Deals combat damage to a player. Choose one. Dash. So. That, I wrote plater? Oh, Lord. That player creates, can you write that many? That many tapped blood tokens. That player creates that many tapped blood tokens. That many. It sounds a little awkward to me. It might be better to say that player creates a number of tapped blood tokens equal to the amount of damage dealt. And then destroy all blood tokens that player controls. Period. If 3 or more permanents, I guess you could say, yeah, whatever. Permanents were destroyed this way, that player loses half their life rounded down. Equip 3. This might be a little wordier than what you currently have, so I don't even know if it'll fit on the card. But a couple things that I think are important. So I think making this combat damage is important. It's just like, you know, yeah, it's cute. It's cute that you can like do some shenanigans with this thing, but I think it's better to just make it combat damage. I think it'll just play better. It'll be more. There'll be less situations where people don't realize what it actually does, and will kind of like walk into like traps or, you know, whatever. The card's just going to work a lot more smoothly if it's just combat damage. The other thing is, I think it makes sense to put this clause before this clause, because as you're reading the card, you're like, okay, well, destroy all blood tokens. Okay, but like, what if they don't have any blood tokens? And you get it here, and you're like, okay, well, yeah. But like, I feel like it reads better if you're like, okay, whenever you do this, that player creates a number of tapped blood tokens equal to the amount of damage dealt. Okay. Destroy all blood tokens that player controls. 3 blah blah blah. Right. So it just flows better. You kind of understand what's going on a little bit better, right? So anyway, okay, what about the way this card plays? So, excuse me, +2/+0 and Menace is nice. Menace especially. So this card basically gives them blood tokens. And then... Okay, so it's pretty easy to give them 3 blood tokens, right? The question is, like, are they going to sacrifice them to prevent this damage here from happening? So, if they have removal, then this card can be a little awkward because, you know, let's say you equip a creature, you hit them, they allow it, right? They take some amount of damage, let's say 4 damage, right? And they get 4 blood tokens. And then they're tapped, right? But they get 4 blood tokens, right? Next turn, it goes to their next turn. Not all their blood tokens untap, right? And maybe they use some of the blood tokens, maybe they don't. But then they go to the next turn, it goes to your combat step, and they kill the guy who's equipped. And now they still have those 4 blood tokens in play. And like, yeah, you can equip this to another creature if you have one. But them having blood tokens now gives them more of a chance of finding ways to stop your other creatures from getting through, right? Because you can use they can use the blood tokens to you know, loot through or whatever. So I find that to be a little bit awkward about this card is the fact that you have to hit them twice, and the first hit is actually like kind of good for them, right? Like, I get what you're doing here, right? Like, you're making them bleed or whatever, but the way this works, it doesn't really make them, like, they kind of want to bleed, you know, which is like a little bit awkward. Like, it's like, well, you know, I'll take the first hit because you're giving me a bunch of blood tokens. It's just it's the second hit that matters, right? The +2/+0 and Menace helps. But I still find this card to be a little awkward. I think what might actually help this card is if you sort of... So, okay, so here's just an idea of a way you could go. Again, like, you know, you don't obviously have to make your card the way I say, but this is just something that kind of comes to my mind when I look at this card, something that I might do. So you can keep the equipped creature, gets +2/+0, and has Menace. I think that's nice. And then you can say, whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player creates a number of tapped blood tokens equal to the amount of damage dealt. Right? And then you can also say, at the beginning of each player's end step, that player loses 1 life for each blood token they control. So this way, like, you're hitting them, and yes, you're giving them blood tokens, but this actually really pressures them to use the blood tokens, you know, because it's like at the end of their turn they're going to lose 1 life for each blood token. So they better be using those blood tokens, otherwise they're going to bleed out pretty fast, right? And this is kind of nice flavor wise as well. Like here, it's kind of, this flavor is a little bit strange because it's like, okay, well they get a bunch of blood tokens, but them bleeding is actually a benefit for them until you hit them again, and in which case it's a little, I don't quite understand the flavor there, right? It's like I guess you're wounded, and then I hit you when you're wounded, and they lose a bunch of life. But to me, it feels like something like this might be a little better, because now, excuse me, now every mana they don't use on sacking their blood tokens is potentially hurting them. And these blood tokens, excuse me, these blood tokens can stack up pretty fast, right? I mean, if you put this on a 2-drop and you're able to get in, you know, you give them 4 blood, you're giving them 4 blood tokens already. So if they don't want to take any damage, they have to spend 4 mana on their blood tokens, you know. Now this still has sort of an inherent danger in the sense that, like, if you hit them and they make blood tokens and they kill the Hemorrhaging Uchigatana, then they don't lose life, and now they just have blood tokens hanging around. So, like, that's kind of an issue, but it is harder to make, you know, to get rid of artifacts than it is to get rid of creatures. Another possibility is, well, okay, you said you wanted to force the player to spend mana, so I was going to say you could give yourself the blood tokens, and then it's like whenever you sacrifice a blood token, it deals damage to that player, which is basically, it makes this card all upside, because right now it's a little risky in both ways, in the sense that, like, you're giving them ways to cycle through their deck and find an answer to this thing, you know. But I think at least with a design like this, you're getting immediate payoff for hitting them. Like, you don't, this one, like, the first hit is good for them, the second hit's like really bad for them, but like only if they have 3 or more blood tokens. So, like, they could just go down to like 2 blood tokens, and then you hit them again and they get more blood tokens. I mean, obviously they're taking some damage here, but yeah. So I find this design to be a little awkward. As it is right now. Also, the equip cost is 3, which is pretty high. So, like, you know, if they kill your creature that's equipped, that has the Uchigatana equipped, it's pretty expensive to put this on another creature, and if they, like, kill that creature again, then it's just like, oh god, like, you're just falling massively behind at that point. And now they have blood tokens maybe, and, like, so you've, like, given them all this value, they've taken a little bit of damage, and now, like, you're, like, way behind because they've killed, like, 2 of your creatures, and, like, you've spent a bunch of mana on the Uchigatana that, like, isn't doing anything, you know. So I think it would be better if, like, any hit you get in is good for you. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what I think about this card. So rating wise, the art's pretty cool. There are some formatting and grammar issues. I think the design's a little awkward at the moment and could use a little bit of help. So I'll give this one a 6 out of 10. I think with a couple modifications, this could be a really neat card. But as it stands right now, I think the card could use a little bit more love, and you know, you can probably get a nice solid card with a few adjustments. So, all right, so that's my review of Hemorrhaging Uchigatana by Sweda. Thank you guys for watching.